Elvis.
His booth is still there. You can sit in it. The same spot where Al Capone sat to watch his money and his back at the same time. Like him, you can turn your head away from the door toward the stage where the jazz bands wailed, where they are still wailing now. Jump up from that seat, hop over the bar, slip past the B3 organ that is behind the bar, and there in the floor is a trap door, a quick escape for Scarface back in the day, into the arteries where the bootlegger highway flourished, keeping this city churning and buzzing with booze, music, and expansion. The best venues have a story, and these stories draw us in. That is why this show is here, and that's why our next stop, the city by the lake, is a gold mine when you dig down. I paint you a picture, but it never looks right, 'cause I filled in the shadows and I blacked out the light. I sent you a postcard, it says Pulaski at night, greetings from Chicago, city of light. Come back to Chicago, city of light. Andrew Bird. Chicago doesn't care if you call it Second City. It's not insecure. This is the birthplace of Chicago jazz and blues and improv comedy and storefront theater, of Midwestern indie rock and house music. Creative minds find space here to experiment and collaborate, with plenty of room to breathe, away from the pressure and the judgment of the coasts. And Chicago doesn't only take pride in its major artistic achievements. No city boasts more devoted audiences, folks who will uncomplainingly trudge through an ice storm in January to see a band they care about. It's a point of pride, an example of the kind of loyalty the city engenders. Chicagoans won't get all mushy on you about how they love their city, but to paraphrase author Nelson Algren, they love this place, the way you adore a lover with a broken nose. There may be lovelier lovelies, but never a lovely so real. The city sparkles on the shore of Lake Michigan, gleaming and grand, and there's a lot more here than meets the eye. It pays to take your time to dig down deep into this place. To me, it feels like the most American metropolis, not out of some purity test of phony nationalistic measurements, but because of the equilibrium it strikes with what is above ground, driving the city now, and what is always brewing underground, destined to be driving it tomorrow. Delivering sounds and artists that have rocketed to the moon and taken the world along with it, alongside those acts that remain by the soil, always ripe for discovery. Gifting us all with music like Cheap Trick, Liz Phair, Big Black, Beach Bunny, Urge Overkill, Wilco, Curtis Mayfield, The Smashing Pumpkins, Grapetooth, Kanye West, Robbie Fulks, Fall Out Boy, Styx, Varsity, Ministry, Earth, Wind and Fire, Shellac, Muddy Waters, Nat King Cole, Benny Goodman, Mavis Staples, Local H, Chance the Rap, Cheer Acts, Buddy Guy, Naked Ray Gun, Chaka Khan, Peg Boy, Junior Wells, OK Go, The Jesus Lizard, Howlin' Wolf, Alkaline Trio, Juice WRLD, Survive, Vaughn Freeman, Richard Marx, The Queers, Micaiah McCraven, The Flat Five, The C&K, Common, and Chicago. Duh. It's July 12th, 1979. We are in Comiskey Park where the struggling White Sox play baseball. A radio DJ with a cunning marketing sense is hosting a promotion for a doubleheader. Bring a disco record to the park and get in for 98 cents. The now classic music genre had taken over pop culture at the time, its sexy sounds infiltrating all the way up to the Rolling Stones. Not everyone was grooving to these beats, and the organizers of the promotion knew they had something, because 70,000 people showed up to a ballpark that holds 45,000. After the first game of the doubleheader, they placed a giant box of the records near the center field wall and, to the chant of "Disco Sucks," blew it sky high. Records went flying and a giant plume of smoke took to the air. But it was the people who were ignited. A kid jumped into the field, stole second base, the actual base. He just took it and he started waving it around. The field was overrun. A riot ensued, an anti-disco riot. The White Sox had to forfeit the second game that day. America's pastime was thwarted by disco ire. It is now referred to as Disco Demolition Night. They tried to kill disco, except I still hear it all the time. A lot of feelings were hurt by disco, especially those of men who didn't know how to dance, and they needed to wreck some shit. It must have been emotionally challenging to be a music lover in the late 1970s. And throughout history, you can place any type of genre or style in the role of "get that new music off my lawn." The disdain for change is as old and way less fascinating than dirt. What is always fascinating, though, is that in trying to bury art, you accidentally fuel it and or give it the push it needs to mutate and drive you crazy in completely new ways. Because soon, underneath that Chicago architecture, a new sound would take hold from the ashes of that Comiskey fire.